Hello guys, and welcome to another video. And for the first time in a while, we don't know any upcoming Mario games. I mean, we do know that the Mario movie is happening, which is pretty big, and most people, myself included, are very excited about it. And there's also DLC for Mario plus Rabbids Sparks of Hope, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. So we have that to look forward to, but we still don't know what Mario games are releasing this year, like whether it be mainline Mario games or spin-offs. We don't really have much information about what is releasing. So in this video, I kind of wanted to give my predictions for what could possibly happen. And obviously, not all of this is going to happen. I'm just going to give my ideas of what I think could happen this year. Like, some of these could possibly happen, some of them might not, but I have a feeling at least one of these will show up this year, because I feel like there's not too many options when it comes to like what Mario games could release, because a lot of Mario series and Mario spin-offs and different things have already been covered on the Switch in the past couple years. So yeah, I just basically kind of wanted to give some of my ideas here for what could possibly happen this year. And my first prediction is a mainline Mario game. It's been 5 years since Super Mario Odyssey, and by this holiday season in 2023, it will be 6 years. So it's around the time we usually see a new 3D Mario game, and especially around the time we see a mainline Mario game in general. Technically, the last mainline Mario game was Super Mario Maker 2, which was also 4 years ago, which was a while ago. So I have a feeling that we might see something, like either a 2D Mario game or a 3D Mario game. I feel like a 3D Mario game is more likely, because Nintendo seems to be pushing it more nowadays, ever since the new Super Mario Bros. Series has kind of died down. And there's also the Mario Maker series as well, which Nintendo kind of treats as a replacement to 2D Mario at the moment, but I'm not sure. But there is a possibility of a 2D Mario game happening, and if it does happen, I feel like it will be a lot different than New Super Mario Bros. I feel like it could have a new art style and possibly even a new gameplay direction, but keeping this core Mario style with it, even the core like New Super Mario Bros. Style, but just expanding upon it. And I feel like it could also kind of tie in with the movie. If they're doing a 2D Mario game, they could have like elements from the movie, like obviously not like an adaptation of the movie, just like some references or different elements from the movie. Like, let's say they add Foreman Spike as a playable character. I know that was an infamous leak a while ago, but I feel like that would be a good idea, like to add like Foreman Spike as a playable character, like a level theme being like the penguin area, or like DK Island, something like that, like unusual locations that would be interesting to see in a Mario game. I think that would be cool. And I feel like if they're doing a 2D Mario game that kind of coincide with the movie, I feel like it would probably release like a couple months after the movie, around May or June, because I feel like that's right around the time a Nintendo Direct could possibly announce it for. Like, that's just enough time to announce the game and everything, so that could still happen and everything if it's going to coincide with the movie and everything. I don't think it will be based on the movie. I feel like that's very unlikely. Nintendo usually doesn't do anything related to like tie-ins or things like that. I'm sure they've done something in the past, but they usually don't do that nowadays. Like, I feel like the most it could have in common with the movie is like some references, like I said, but I feel like it could still release alongside the movie. That's always a possibility. So I feel like if a 2D Mario game is going to happen, it's probably going to happen around late spring, early summer. And if a 3D Mario game is going to happen, I feel like it's probably going to be the holiday title. Like, Odyssey 2 is probably the most likely thing. Like, it could be advertised around the time the movie is out, like it could get trailers around that time, be promoted a lot alongside the movie, but released later in the year. around the holidays, like October, November, and it could either be like Odyssey 2 or an entirely new 3D Mario game. I feel like an entirely new 3D Mario game is kind of unlikely if this is going to be a Switch game. If a new Nintendo console happens, which is also kind of unlikely, I feel like that's when a new 3D Mario game could, or a new like idea for a 3D Mario game could happen, like an entirely new thing, other than like Odyssey or expanding upon the previous game. But I feel like for now, Odyssey 2 is probably like most likely 3D Mario game that will happen. Like Odyssey already had a lot of ideas that definitely had a lot of potential and could be expanded upon. So I feel like Odyssey 2 would definitely be like the best choice for the next 3D Mario game, at least in my opinion. So yeah, and the fact that the movie even has some references to Super Mario Odyssey, like Crazy Cap and different things like that, some oddly specific things from Super Mario Odyssey, I feel like that might be hinting at something. That might be like some promotion. I mean, that might be nothing, but it might be some kind of promotion for Odyssey 2 or something like that. But I'd really like to see Odyssey 2, but I'm not sure how likely that is. I feel like some kind of 3D Mario or 2D Mario is likely. Some kind of mainline Mario game is likely for this year. It might not happen. Nintendo might wait a couple more years for it to happen, but I feel like it's been enough time now. Like, we've waited long enough. I feel like there's a possibility we could get a new 2D or 3D Mario game, and it would definitely make sense considering that the movie is releasing this year, so we'll have to see. So the next game I think we could possibly see is a new Mario sports game. So I feel like they could either be Mario Baseball, Mario Basketball, or a sports compilation, kind of like Mario Sports Mix or Mario Sports Superstars. And I feel like most people are saying baseball, but it might be like one of the other two that I mentioned. And I feel like it would probably be developed by Bandai Namco, because Bandai Namco has developed like multiple Mario sports games in the past, including the baseball ones and Mario Sports Superstars. So I feel like they're probably going to be the ones to develop the next Mario sports game. And I feel like it's not as likely as some other games that I'm going to mention, because we've had 2 years in a row with new Mario sports games, so I'm not sure if Nintendo is gonna, like, continue with that. Like, especially because the last two games got a lot of backlash and didn't perform as well as some other Mario spin-offs on the Switch. I'm not sure if Nintendo's gonna want to continue that or do, like, a constant cycle of Mario sports games, since, like, it didn't really work out the way they might have intended the other Mario sports games to work on Switch, so I feel like we might wait a little until the next game. But if this does happen, I feel like it's probably going to be similar to Super Rush and Battle League, have the free update model. I mean, it might turn out decent, like, because, I mean, there's been other Mario sports games in the past that had, like, updates or DLC that actually had a decent amount of content at launch, like Mario Golf World Tour on the 3DS. If they do something like that, where it has a lot of content at launch and they just add little things later, that might be good, but I'm a little concerned if a new Mario sports game is going to happen, and if it does end up being like Battle League or Super Rush, it's still going to be controversial, no matter like how high quality the game is or what the game is about and everything. It's still going to be controversial if they end up not releasing a lot of content at launch. So I hope if they do release another Mario sports game this year, I hope it has enough content at launch, like 16 characters minimum. I mean, actually for baseball, it should be much more than that, like, I guess like 25 characters, I guess. Basketball, I guess 16 characters minimum. And at least, like, I really hope at least 10 courses or different areas minimum, because, I mean, yeah, Super Rush and Battle League were definitely pretty lacking in terms of different, like, courses or stadiums that you could play in. And yeah, I really hope that the next Mario sports game has enough like levels or different areas in it. So we'll have to see. So I also feel like that's probably going to be like Nintendo's major multiplayer release of the year. They usually do like one, like I think like between like 2 and 3 like major multiplayer games. Like in 2022 they had Battle League, Nintendo Switch Sports, and Splatoon 3. I'm not sure, I might be missing one, but those I feel like those were the major multiplayer releases of that year. So there's going to be at least a couple major multiplayer games, and I feel like if they're going to do like something like that with Mario, I feel like it's probably going to be like a Mario sports game. So we'll have to see. I don't think it's that likely, but we'll have to see. So the next thing is not actually a game, but DLC for Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. And I feel like they could possibly do more than the booster course pass. And I think they could actually add characters. I'm not sure how this would release. They could like bundle it in with the booster course pass or release it as like free updates or something. But I think it would be cool to see more characters in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. Like, even though that game is nearly a decade old, counting the original on the Wii U, I do like how they're continuing with the Booster Course Pass, because I feel like they're definitely higher quality tracks now that they're adding. Like, they don't seem to be, like, ripped straight from Tour. They actually seem to put a little bit of work into the tracks. So I feel like the Booster Course Pass is definitely getting better, so I feel like they could expand upon it by actually adding characters and possibly even carts and cart parts. So I feel like it would be a good idea because they could actually tie it in with the movie, since the movie seems to have a little bit of Mario Kart references going on there, like, and they even show like characters like Funky Kong and different things like that. So I think it would be a great opportunity to add some new characters, like especially the ones from Tour, like Pauline, Funky Kong, Diddy Kong, Dixie Kong, King Bob-omb, characters like that. I think it would be cool to see them in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. And yeah, there's even like some others, like PD Piranha, Kamek, different characters like that, and it would be the perfect tie-in with the movie, like I said. And I feel like they could do like 3 waves of 3 characters like releasing alongside the booster course pass. I feel like that would be a good idea, and I was kind of a little disappointed that they didn't do that with the booster course pass, but I'm not sure, they could still like do something like that, because I feel like recently there was like a data mine or something where they switched things around for the characters. I'm not sure what they were. There was like some data that people found recently about like some of the clone characters being grouped as alts. So they might be shifting around the roster a little bit to make way for some new characters. I'm not sure. I really want new characters to happen, and I really want more characters in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, but we'll have to see. So the next thing is a new Dr. Mario game, or something related to Dr. Mario on the Switch. And I feel like the most likely thing is Dr. Mario 99. That would be like a free incentive for Nintendo Switch Online, kind of like Tetris 99 or Pac-Man 99. It's been a couple years since they did the last one. I feel like, yeah, Pac-Man 99 was in 2021, and then Tetris 99 was in 2019, and then there was also Super Mario Bros. 35. Unfortunately, that ended, but I feel like it's about time for something new with that, so I feel like Dr. Mario 99 could possibly happen. And I feel like there's also a couple other things they could do with Dr. Mario on the Switch. One thing that I personally want is an enhanced port of Dr. Mario World that's an eShop exclusive for like $15 to $20. I know, like, it's a mobile game and everything, it's like a port of a mobile game, but I feel like they could rework it, like, with the traditional Dr. Mario gameplay, and then kind of adapt it to the elements that are in Dr. Mario World, and actually kind of make a decent game out of it. Since Dr. Mario World shut down, I feel like that would be good to have, like, an actual way to play this game, since it's technically lost media at this point. And I think it would just really be cool if there was actually an accessible version of Dr. Mario World that you could play offline and everything, and that would be properly preserved. So that's something that I personally want. I'm not sure if everyone would be okay with that, because it's like a mobile port and everything, but I want that personally just because it could be preserved and everything, and it would be a nice little eShop exclusive, possibly an NSO or NSO expansion pack incentive. Not sure, but I think that would be cool. And I feel like there could also be like an entirely new Dr. Mario game. I know a 99 game would technically be new, but like, I mean more like an actual Dr. Mario game. And I feel like there could be something like mid-priced, like a $30 release with like a story mode like Dr. Mario 64 and like a few other features like a brand new Dr. Mario game. I feel like that's the least likely out of the three, but it's still possible. I feel like Dr. Mario 99 is the most likely, and there's still a slim chance of a Dr. Mario World port happening, but who knows, a new Dr. Mario game could happen. I don't really find it likely, but it could happen. And the next thing seems pretty unlikely at first, considering the state of the developer. But I feel like a new Mario Luigi game could actually happen. I know Alpha Dream went defunct and everything, went bankrupt in 2019, and yeah, I feel like a Mario Luigi game could actually happen. Like, I feel like it could be developed by a different studio, like Square Enix, Bandai Namco, Camelot, Monolith Soft, Intelligent Systems, or Grezzo. There's a lot of options, but I feel like Nintendo might actually just have another developer make a Mario and Luigi game rather than just leave the series dormant. Because the series actually sold decently well. Like, even up until Dream Team, like, it sold decent. Like, even though the 3DS entries didn't sell like as well as Nintendo expected them to, and the remakes sold pretty poorly, especially Bowser's Inside Story. But the DS games sold pretty well, and Superstar Saga as well. And like overall, the series was pretty popular. So I don't really see why Nintendo wouldn't bring this series back. Because I mean, there's definitely a lot of potential for where they could take the series. And it would just kind of suck if Nintendo just had another dormant Mario spin-off. And it's been 4 years since the last Mario and Luigi related release, so I don't really think it's outside of the realm of possibility to get a new Mario and Luigi game. It's still like at that point where the series is kind of within grasp. Like, it's like not really an old dormant series that would be like very lucky if Nintendo even acknowledged it. It's only like it only stopped getting new games a few years ago. And at this point, I feel like enough time has passed for a new game to be developed by a different studio. So I think there's a possibility that we could actually get a new Mario and Luigi game this year. I don't really think it's that likely, but there's always the chance, and I think it could happen at some point. And this year marks the 20th anniversary of the Mario and Luigi series. I'm not sure if Nintendo would care that much, but they did acknowledge the 20th anniversary of the Paper Mario series. But yeah, there's always a possibility, and if this were to happen, if there was a developer to develop this, I feel like it would probably be developed by Grezzo. I know that's kind of a random choice, but Grezzo has developed a decent amount of RPGs, like they did Ever Oasis, and I think they did the Miitopia remake. So, and I think they did a few other things as well, and also supported some developers in terms of like RPGs and things. So I feel like there's a possibility that Grezzo could be developing this if there's a new Mario and Luigi game, since they kind of do things, like, they do a lot of stylized games, like Link's Awakening, for example, and I guess Miitopia even counts as like a game with a unique art style. But yeah, I feel like a new Mario and Luigi game would probably be developed by them, and I feel like it would probably be like more original and creative, because there was a lot of backlash with Paper Jam and the remakes. Paper Jam because it was pretty generic and kind of fell in line with like the new Super Mario Bros. Style. And then the remakes, because the remakes, they're not like, I know the remakes still had like all of the old characters aside from a few Toads that they changed, but like the remakes still had like the original characters and everything. They didn't really retcon everything. It was still like just as original and unique as the original games were for the most part. I know there were a few changes, but they weren't generic. But the thing is, they were still remakes, and they weren't new games at all, and there was still some backlash behind it, especially because they were on the 3DS. And there was also the Paper Mario situation as well, and I'm sure Nintendo is at least somewhat aware of how people feel about the modern games in terms of like character restrictions and things. So I feel like a new Mario and Luigi game would hopefully go all out and be more creative this time in response to a lot of that backlash, because it would probably be developed by someone that wouldn't be under Tanabe, so I'm not sure. But yeah, I think a Mario and Luigi game isn't that likely, but I think it's still somewhat possible, considering that there's not many options for a Mario game this year, like I mentioned, so they could always pull Mario and Luigi out. So the final thing is probably the least likely, but it's something I really want to happen. And it's not a game, but it's the Year of Luigi. So I feel like they're not going to go all out like they did in 2013. If they're going to do the Year of Luigi, I feel like they're going to do kind of like a smaller scale thing. Not exactly like small scale, maybe like on the level of how the 30th anniversary of Kirby was. Actually, maybe not even that. Like, maybe just like a small little thing, I guess. And just release a couple things and just kind of have like some more like merchandise than actual game releases and everything. But if they do like a Year of Luigi thing, I feel like they would probably do like I said, like more smaller things like merchandise and things and small little things. And I think it would be cool if we at least got like a Game & Watch out of it, like kind of like how we got the Mario and Zelda Game & Watch. I think it would be cool to get a Luigi Game & Watch that includes Arcade Mario Bros. As well as the Game & Watch Mario Bros. I know that's I think that's a dual screen game, but I feel like they could like adapt it to a single screen game, or like at least adapt it to where it works on like a single screen. But yeah, I think it would be cool to see like a Mario Bros. Game & Watch, or like a Luigi Game & Watch with Mario Bros. On it. And they could also include a couple other games as well, like Super Mario Bros. 2 and Super Mario Bros. 3. I think that would be cool. And then they could do like a funny thing where they have like Luigi as the main playable character instead of Mario. It would be pretty fitting for the Game & Watch, but I think that would be pretty cool if they do something like that. I would really like to see like at least like a Game & Watch if they're going to celebrate Luigi, as well as like an 8-bit amiibo, kind of like how they had for the 30th anniversary of Mario and Zelda. I feel like this is kind of less likely, considering the last time we got like one of those 8-bit amiibos was back in 2016, 2017, I think, when we got the one for Link and everything. But I would still like to see like that return and kind of get like an 8-bit Luigi amiibo for the 40th anniversary of Luigi. Not very likely, but I think it would be cool. And the final thing is this kind of like a personal wish, not really like an actual prediction. I know this is a prediction video, but I think Nintendo likes to do weird kind of like out of nowhere things, out of left field things. So I feel like if they were gonna do a game for Year of Luigi, I think it would be cool to see Luigi Party. Basically, a Mario Party spin-off that's themed around Luigi. And basically it would use like the same like engine as Mario Party Superstars and have the same gameplay formula and everything, but it would have Luigi-themed boards and minigames. I know this is very unlikely and probably won't happen, but it would be really cool. I feel like at least like a Luigi-themed game would be really cool to see, like, if they're gonna do Year of Luigi again, but Luigi Party is just like a fun, silly little idea that I have. They're probably not gonna do it, but I think it would be cool, like, if they had, like, Luigi-themed boards, or maybe even like a Superstars 2 with, like, GameCube boards, in other Nintendo 64 boards, but they just brand it as Luigi Party or something like that, or Luigi Party Superstars, and just have more Luigi theming surrounding it. I don't know. I think that would be cool, but I don't think it's gonna happen. So overall, there's a decent amount of options for what could happen this year in terms of game releases for Mario, and I feel like it's kind of partially narrowed down this year because a lot of things were already covered. We probably won't get a Paper Mario game this year. That's probably going to be in 2024 because that's like a 4-year release cycle. And with Mario Sports, that's possible, but there's only a couple options for that, like Mario Baseball, Basketball, or a Sports Collection. And it's been a few years since a mainline Mario game, so we could see something like that. I just think it's possible that we'll get something interesting this year. Like, I mean, because we don't really know what's going to happen, and it's very unlikely that they're going to carry the year with only DLC for Mario Kart 8 Deluxe and Mario plus Rabbids Sparks of Hope, and they're definitely not going to have the movie be the only, like, major Mario thing this year. And there's always at least 2 Mario games that release in a year. I feel like 2022 had less than normal, but it still felt generally normal in terms of, like, Mario releases and everything. So at the absolute minimum, we're gonna get 2 Mario releases this year in terms of games and spin-offs and everything. So we'll have to see. So anyways, thank you guys for watching this video. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe for more, and make sure to check out my Discord server if you want to. Goodbye.